go on farms.
So, who is Tarmac Terrorist?
I am Tarmac Terrorist, and I like sim racing.
Or Hello, folks. Are we live? Let's have a look. Am I here? Am I here? Let's have a look. There I am. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. Impromptu live stream to look at new beta from Reza Studios. Version 1.5.1.3, which dropped just last night. So, hello out there. Let's just get this all sorted and see if the stream is indeed going out live. Let's refresh this page here quickly, and then we can get started. And there we go. We are indeed live. Brilliant. Cool. We'll close that now. Fantastic. Come and say hello in the chat if you can hear me, so I know everything's working. So, Autumn and Blister 2, as you can see down here, 1.5.1.3. Update dropped last night, and I've already given it a little test, and it's feeling damn good. So I thought I'd come and test a bit live and get some of my initial, because I've only tested a couple of cars, but get some initial impressions and do it live. Why not? So for anyone listening at the moment, or in future if you come back and watch this live stream, I'm just going to read out what's been said for the beta. So it's now obviously live. A bit of a construction site in terms of the latest round of tyre physics. All very much work in progress apparently. There are lots of cars on the green list, which have been revised, and if you are on the beta, by the way, it says don't panic if you feel or find some of the cars feeling a little rougher than others. Let them know in the forums and they'll have another look. It's all ongoing. Apparently the tyre updates concentrate on one of the tread's friction coefficients, which come into play mainly when the tyre is sliding, but that has repercussions on the whole tyre structure. Some of the related thermodynamics adjustments impact all tyres, including those that haven't received any adjustments since 1.5.0.5. So testing should be concentrated, if you're on the beta, only on the cars on the green list. And there's lots of them on the green list, which are classes with complete physics and AI revisions since version 1.5.0.5. Still pending further fine-tuning, so they're still working hard on it. And then you've got just about 5 car classes, which are classes that are thoroughly revised already with tyre updates since 1.5.0.5, but not totally revised in terms of AI and bits and pieces like that. I've got an eye on the beta forums here. I've got a web page open, so I can keep an eye on what's going on the beta forums, because there's been no patch notes released yet. So if that does end up happening whilst I'm doing this live stream, hopefully we can hear what's actually in the patch notes. Actually, I have discovered something already, which there's no patch notes, because obviously there will be within the beta other things that will have changed other than just tyre physics. But I can tell you, here's a little surprise. Let's go to a test day, and we'll go to our tracks. I'm not going to use this track just for the moment, because this is my testing ground here for the moment, Laguna Seca. It's where I've been testing and comparing cars. But if we go to tracks and go up to Barcelona, we've already got the 2 versions of Barcelona, the one without the chicane on the second from last turn, and the one with. However, now, look, we've got another version, the shortened version. So you're missing out this whole bit of the track here, and that's the shorter version. So that's good news to have another version of Barcelona. Excuse me. There is actually a possible 4th layout of this track, which I remember, I think, from GTR 2, where it's this short version of the track, but also goes up here and down there. There's another turn just there. So maybe in the future we'll even get that. But for the moment we'll go back to Laguna Seca, if I can find it. There we go. And the first thing I'm going to do is take out the McLaren GT3. The GT3's are on the updated tyre physics, and I've just been mucking about with this car at Laguna Seca in R Factor 2, which I'm also enjoying very much at the moment because of the updates to the BMW. I've done a video on that already, the M2, but I was just trying it out with the McLaren here to get a sort of basis for comparison, if you like. So we are going out. I've already in my setups, I've deleted my setups folder within my documents, so we're going to go out on a default setup. Like I say, if you are listening out there, if you're in the chat, come and say hello, or just type "Oi, Tarmac" or something like that, just so I know that the live stream is working properly. But we're going to go out on a default setup. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take off all of the traction control and all of the ABS for the moment, just so, you know, if we want to do things like slide it and play with the tyres, we're able to do that. And I usually have my HUD off when I'm driving, but for your benefit, I'm going to keep it on. So we got tyre warmers on this car. They're at about 60-70 degrees. Let's get out there. Hello, B Stu, Moist Larry. Oh, I love. Oh, hello, B Stu. Moist Larry was that wasn't your name, was it? That came up at one day in one of the live stream servers that I was doing. Were you racing as Moist Larry? I'll never forget that day. For those of you who don't know, I was running a live stream, a server, just a server for fun, and people were joining and racing. I didn't think it was B2, but obviously you remember as well. And this guy called Moist Larry turned up, and I just thought, I was following on the racetrack, and I just thought this is the funniest name I've ever heard. Anyway, you were there, Stu. That's right. I hope you're doing well, mate. So, getting into testing this car, I'm just going to turn my headphones down a little bit so I'm not deafening myself. Hopefully, I'm not deafening you guys with the engine sound too much out there. And hopefully the stream's running nice and smoothly. So, from what I've experienced already, this car is feeling great. It really is. One of the things I've noticed already is that the feeling under braking is much better. So I'm braking quite firmly there, and without any ABS, try here. You know, and I've got no problems braking without locking up or worrying about where my bite point is. It's really quite obvious to me at the moment. And through the force feedback, the car is feeling incredibly responsive, really good. I have also noticed that I can trail brake properly again. So, a bit of trail braking around here. That lets me rotate the car. Perfect. You can hear a little bit of scrub there. But it's... These physics revisions have been a little bit up and down. Especially for some people, as a friend of mine, flip-flops would tell you. They've sort of gone forwards and then backwards and then forwards and then backwards. As things have been in flux through the development of these betas. This is definitely feeling the best so far. If Flip-Flops is listening, he's away on holiday at the moment, so I hope he's not. I hope he's just enjoying his holiday and taking a complete break from stuff. But if he is, hello. This is really feeling great. It really is. If I do get the back end out, the back will slide, and then I'll pull it from the front, counter steer, and it's driving it's driving from the front. The wheels are driving from the front, if you know what I mean. The back is following the front again, which is lovely. And the grip as well. These GT3s, they lowered the grip on them in general, but when they did that, it felt like the balance of the car had changed. So it was like the grip had just been lowered on the backs, not on the fronts. Now it's kind of back to being able to trust it when you're trail braking as well. So I'm going to try and keep the temperatures, the tyre temperatures, within a decent window here. We're up to 85 on the back right already, which is to be expected. Obviously these start off with tyre blankets, so it's easy to get them up to temperature quickly. But this is feeling just lovely. And see, I use the trail braking to rotate the car there. I'll use it a bit more there, just a little touch of the brakes, and the back end starts to come round. How about down here? Lovely. Even a bit too much on the back. Now up to 91 on that back right, 84 on the back left. It's feeling fantastic. I've noticed as well that the tyre temperatures are more peaky than they were before. I noticed that whilst testing out the stock car 23, which we'll have to go and have a play with as well. I've just given it a bit too much throttle around there. I want to try and just see. So if I overdo it a little bit, yeah, I can throttle it and get the back end to come out and come around a bit. But it's not uncontrollable. It's very dynamic the way the tyres are sliding now. So I'll try it again around here. Just deliberately go too low in the gears. There we go. I'm getting the back end. The steering wheel is turning to counterlock in a way that I would expect and find believable as well. It's feeling really, really good. And like I said, the tyre temperatures feel more peaky in that they are going up and down in temperature more rapidly. So I'll try and show you what I mean. Let's this could just be me, but I'm pretty sure I'm not dreaming. So let's try and get this back right up to over 100. Okay, with a couple of burnouts, let's get it up to over 100. There we go. We'll get it up even more so you can properly see it on your screen there. If you look at the little tyre widget in the bottom, that's now up to 106, so it's gone slightly yellow. If I just stop, it's down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 100, 99, 98. It's coming down a lot quicker. And it used to, I'm sure it used to be that, you know, you'd get, if you got up to about 106, it would come down really, really slowly. So you were really kind of in trouble if you got over your tyres too hot. But now they seem to be coming down more, and they did, as Renato said, as in the patch notes said on the forum. Well, we haven't got the full patch notes there, but from what little he did say, it's affected the thermodynamics, or the thermodynamics are affecting the tyres differently. So, I don't know, tell me what you guys think in the comments. If you're on the beta and you're trying it out, or you have tried it out, have you found that the tyre temps seem to come up and down more rapidly? Let's see what happens if I'm going to give it too much brakes. Yeah, I gave it quite a lot of brakes there, more than I should have done for trail braking. The back end has started to come right out, and then there you go. But I was able to catch it the first time, but not quite that time. Just a little bit too much trail braking. So and the way it slid there is very dynamic. Let's try and going back to being sensible with it now. Hello Don, how you doing, mate? Are you trying out this new beta? Because I tell you what, mate, I really do think things are really moving in the right direction. The brake bias on this car, by the way, if I bring up my dash there, you can see it's 57 to the front. When I tried this car in R Factor 2 just earlier, in R Factor 2, your brake bias, for some reason in Automobilista 2, you can set the brake bias all the way to the front or all the way to the rear. In R Factor 2, you're limited to, I think, at most 57 to the front, and about, at lowest, 43. So your lowest number is 43 on the front, so that's more to the rear. I tried it with the same brake balance and a similar kind of setup, and I tell you what, this is the closest, just as terms for a basis of comparison, because I do use R Factor 2 a lot, and this is feeling, you know, the car handling is feeling much more like that. Ah, Don's replying here. Rapport. So have you been doing that since last night? Because I was actually out watching my brother play jazz at a bar last night, and he was playing for about just over 2.5 hours, and whilst I was watching I kept checking the forum, because Renato, for those who don't know, your main sort of man for dev work at Reza, had said the day before that there would be a new beta coming out, and so I was keeping an eye, and it dropped whilst I was out watching my brother. So I was very excited when I got home to come and have a test, but I couldn't really test because we've got my brother and his family over at the moment. So my little nephew asleep in the other room, didn't want to wake him up with all the sim gear rumbling away, so I only had a quick test, but I was very excited. What I felt last night felt really good, but I thought, you know, it's late and I'm going to go to bed, I'll get up and test it. And this morning testing it, I wasn't just, you know, it wasn't because I was tired and not completely on it last night. It really is feeling good. Stock car 2019. Well, you say that sounds amazing. That is good to hear. I've not tried that car yet, but I have tried the stock car 2023, and that is feeling better. That is feeling a lot better. This McLaren is feeling fantastic. You tested all the stock cars, Pro Car, Formula Retros, and yes, I've already mentioned the new Barcelona layout. I discovered that as soon as I went to Barcelona. So that's the third layout we've got. That's good news, because it means we might possibly get a fourth, because there is another layout. So as you go down the second longest straight, so you've got your grid straight, corners, and then another long straight, there is another part of the track which goes off and adds another corner there. Maybe we'll get that as well, but it's lovely to have another version of the circuit. But okay, let's I'm just going to quickly just look and see if I've missed anything in the chat, and then I'm going to have to take my eyes off the chat, because before I go and try something else, not missed anything. Back to the sim. I'm going to try and give it a. So if I don't reply to anyone just for this next couple of laps, it's just because I want to see if I can really just push this car a bit. So let's concentrate and just see how it feels when you're really giving it some. Like I said, I've got no traction control or ABS on. What will the tyres do, you know, whilst I'm really pushing it? I'll try not to abuse them too much. It's really noticeable now. It's there's a real noticeable bite point to braking and then losing grip under braking, and there's also a big noticeable point between having total grip, then being on the edge with a little bit of scrub, and sliding. It's like three different things, and you can really tell now, you know. So it's actually kind of making tyre management a bit easier, I think. And it's just feeling absolutely great. Through the force feedback as well. The force feedback is just feeling really, really good. I'm, you know, able to control the car as I would expect, nicely, easily. There's not too much over-exaggeration through the steering when you have to get to a counter-steer scenario. It's little bit of lock on. I think that was the back rear left rather, as it hit the dip there. Alright, pushing it a bit too hard through there, but keeping the tyres in a good window there. You know, I was scrubbing a little bit around the rainy curve there, that long sweeping left-hander, and yeah, the tyres are in a nice window. So the rear right's up to 94, now already back down to 93, 92. And, you know, I can really feel quite a bit of bite from the front end, but I can also feel exactly what the rear end is doing. Loving it, absolutely loving it. It really does feel so good. Let's see what it's like if I just want to come back to the pits and try it on default. So I want to go, because I've got the traction control and the ABS off, so I'm going to reset to default, and the default traction control and ABS is at 8 on both counts. So we'll do that. Just before I go out, I'll just have a quick look at the chat. Yeah, Don, if you push too hard, you get punished, and it's really good. Have you noticed, Don, I don't know when you jumped into the stream, but I was saying earlier, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the tyres seem more peaky. As in, the temperature, if you abuse them, goes up and comes down faster than it used to. So look, this is what I mean. I'll just, so we're at 8 on traction control, so let's just bring the traction control down to 0 so I can do this. So if I spin up the back wheels, so that's gone up to 80, 81 rather, 80 already, 79, 78. It's coming down quicker when you lay it to rest. Let's put the traction control back to defaults. They're more peaky. It's I don't know if that's because you're getting more, the surface temperature is going up and down a lot quicker, you know, and going up a lot quicker. That's a bit more sort of, I like that, it's good. Right, so I've got all my traction control and everything on now. Let's see how it feels with those electronic aids on, because they might have done something with the electronic aid, you don't know. I can really nail it out of the corners there. I'm not used to driving with the traction control on this high. The ABS is feeling better. I used to feel with these cars that when you turn the ABS on, it was actually terrible for trail braking, because if you brake really lightly, as you'd want to for trail braking, is to find that turning the ABS on, in some respects, almost made it worse, and you'd lose the back end easier. But here, if I trail brake now, it's better. It's better. I don't know if that's just the tyres, or I'm really over braking there, and the back end gets a little bit squirrely, but it's under control. It's still a little bit, still not the greatest ABS system in the world, but feeling good. Don finally got a flat spot in his first lap in a testing race. Had to manage it a lot and was really realistic and fun indeed. Right, well, I tell you what, Don, in a moment I shall turn the ABS back off and we'll test that, see how the flat spots are feeling. As I go a bit wide through trying to look at the chat and sort of drive at the same time. Just readjusting my wheel because I turned down. Last night I turned down a little bit of the force feedback to keep the wheel quiet so it didn't wake people up, and just realised it was still down at about 60, so I've just turned up to 100. Oh, that's feeling even better. That is feeling even better. Yeah, I can nail the throttle now with that traction control. Really nail it. Getting a little bit of scrub, but it's really, keep the brakes on as we go around here. It's yeah, it's good. Right, let's take off all the aids and let's try what Don's suggesting here. There is no ABS and TC in the stock car, no, but I'm not in the stock car. I'm in the McLaren GT3, so I've got to turn them off to get a flat spot. I'm going to wait till I can get on a nice big bit of straight so I can get up some decent speed and really give it a, really shave those tyres a bit when I flat spot it. Alright, let's try at the end of the, before the next corner here. So, coming up to 210 kilometers per hour, slam on the brakes. Ah, right, that should have given me quite a nasty flat spot. I am using, if you want to know my FFB, I'll quickly come out and show you. So, I am on the default profile, just if this is important to you. This is my gain setting. On the wheel, I'm at 100. I'm using FANATEC CSW, so it's an 8 Newton meter belt drive wheel, and I've got that tuned to about 38 in terms of gain and strength. So the way I tune it in terms of gain and strength, I go out in my normal road car, which is a Ford Focus Estate, nothing special, and turn the wheel at 30 miles an hour with one finger and see how hard it is to do and how much the resistance builds up. And then I go out in the closest car to that I've got in the game, which is the Volkswagen Vitas, similar in horsepower, wheelbase, and it's front wheel drive. And I'll set it to that sort of feeling, and then I leave that at the gain. So that's how I do that. Low force boost is at 7. I might want to turn that down a little bit. I might have that turned up a little bit too high. Take that down to 5. Effects are at 50. I don't like too much of the added extra effects. Damping at 0. On the wheel, let's see, I'm at, I think I'm at 0 as well on there. And that is the default. I do not like default plus. It's all right, but it introduces too many, effects that you wouldn't feel through the steering column in the real car. Plus, it introduces, because of those effects, it does introduce wheel oscillation as well. So I use default. Wheel oscillation only in ridiculous circumstances, but it's still there. So that's what I hope that helps if you're interested in that. Yeah, I can see why people like the default plus. It can give you pointers. It's what the car's doing in a gravitational sort of way. But for me, no, I'm a default man. Right, so I've just flat spotted those tyres. So let's see how that feels now. Yeah, I can feel that already. It's going to get worse when I turn a corner, depending on which wheel's got the worst flat spot. Looks like the left front, maybe. Yeah, I'm certainly feeling that. I mean, the vibration I'm getting is strong enough that, I'm feeling it under me as well. Oh yeah, I'm feeling it under me as well, because with the wheel bolted directly to the rig, it's transmitting through the rig. But I'm noticing now, hang on. Yeah, it's definitely the front left which has got the worst flat spot. I have noticed this in Automobilista 2, I mentioned it in a stream before, that unlike a lot of other sims, I can really feel where the flat spot is, So, going around to the left now. Yeah, I'm getting, you can see the wheel juddering just a little bit there. Let's try this corner at a similar speed. Yeah, it's definitely worse on the left. Front left, look at the numbers. Yeah, it does look like the front left has got the worst wear there. So let's get to an even bigger straight and do it again. Someone else put something. I'm going to have to come back to. I can only see one line of text at a time in the chat because my window's so small because I'm streaming from one screen. So I will come back and see what was said there. But I'm going to try and give it a really big flat spot. So yeah, that's quite a bit worse. Even turning, I'm waiting for a corner that I can turn right again because I think that's the right again that's got the most flat spot. Here we go. Let's try and flat spot the front right. Oh, that was a big one. I can really feel that now. Yeah, that's quite severe. That is quite severe indeed. Wow, that, oh my word, yes, can really feel that. Right, yeah, the McLaren is feeling great, but I want to come over to what John's been suggesting now. Hello Mr. Darwin Lee. Yeah, I agree. I prefer default to default plus. As I was saying earlier, I can see how it helps. I have tried it and it's got its advantages, but it does, because of the it kind of tries to introduce those gravitational effects that you'd feel through your body rather than through the steering, which is fine and can help for the intuitive driving when you're not actually getting those. It can produce slight wheel oscillation, so I keep on default, but some people prefer default plus, and that's, you know, if you got your, I'd have to reset my wheel properly for default plus to eliminate those problems that it gives me. Darwin Lee uses default with 70 gain on a 15 Newton meter Sim Magic base. Your steering must be dead heavy. Dead heavy. I don't know if you heard how I explain how I calculate the weight or set the weight for my steering wheel earlier. I was explaining to I think Don and Beast there. I do it through matching it to the steering in my real car. Obviously not for cars like the GT3. I'll match the in-game main game strength, not the individual car force feedback multiplier. The game strength, I match that to the closest car that I have in the game that's closest to my road car. Get the weight of that feeling the same. And then when that's right, I feel absolutely fine. And then, of course, when I jump in maybe an older car without power steering, and a smaller diameter steering wheel like the BMW Pro car, the steering then gets a lot heavier naturally because that car does have heavier steering. So Don said, when the numbers are changing a lot, it's a flat spot. Yep. A lot of people using 70 there. Yeah. Yeah, the flat spotting, just everything they're doing with the tyres is great. Right, stock car 2019, you're saying. I'm going to make a compromise there, Don. What I'm going to do first, just to quickly reiterate my point on tyres, and because I'm very used to this car at a certain track, so for this car, it's Gateway with the super tight chicane, and it is a stock car, but I'm going to leave the 2019 there till last because I haven't tried that, so I'm looking forward to that. But this I already have tried. The Toyota Corolla stock car 2023 at this track on this last version, before obviously yesterday's beta came out, the beta before, I found this car was feeling good, but I also found that it almost felt like it had low speed grip problems. As in, it was okay on the higher speed corners, but at low speed, because this track's perfect for that. It's got really low speed corners. It was almost like the grip was worse at low speed when it should be better, because you're not moving so much. I have tried this car, and basically the two tightest corners here, I just had to be so careful with the accelerator in first gear. And well, see for yourselves. We're on cold tyres here, remember, so we've got to warm them up. But these are the two corners I'm talking about. So here we go. We come to that corner. Little bit slippery because of those cold tyres. We're going to warm them up. This corner here was just a nightmare. Obviously you've got to come out of there easily and then nail it. And it's, even with cold tyres, I've nailed it, and it's, I've kept it in the direction it's supposed to be going reasonably well. I couldn't do that in this last beta that we had. This is feeling much. This corner as well was terrible. I've got to get them warmed up, to be fair. Let's really warm them up. A little bit of a burnout there, help them warm up. Come on. Right, the rears are up to 70 now. Let's try and warm up these fronts as well. Some people sort of find the balance of these stock cars a bit strange, and I think it's because a lot of people don't realise that they're actually, even though the engine at the front, they are a mid-engine car, but they're a front mid-engine, so the engine is behind the front axles, quite a long way behind. I mean, look at how far back you sit in the cockpit. The engine's just right there. So, tyres will warm up. We probably need about one more lap to get them proper, but here we go. Let's try these corners now. And with nice gradual throttle response or throttle input in first gear, I am now able to get out of those corners without it wanting to spin at really low speeds. And this one as well. This was one of the worst corners. There you go. It's this. I'm really pleased with that, because that was the one thing I was really sort of not liking in the last beta, was the way that this car was acting around low speed corners. Don says exactly. I don't know what you mean, because I don't know what you're saying exactly to. So let's try that one more time, and then I'm going to get your 2019 out and see how that feels. One more time. Yeah, the grip's much better. It's much better at low speed. A lot of sims have problems with low speed grip, or at least they used to. So it's nice to see that getting sorted. That's lovely. We'll just do this last chicane, and then we'll swap over to the 2019. So much more manageable, and as you would expect as well for a car with racing slicks. Yeah, brilliant. And another thing, just before I finish, I used to, with this car on the last build as well, I noticed that the tyres on this car at this track would get up to temperature very quickly, and they'd get super hot. You could get your back outside right up to about 120 as soon as you started going around the oval part after a few laps, quite easily. but it would kind of stay there and not come down very, you know. Now it'll go up there, but you get onto the other parts of the track and it starts coming down a lot quicker again. So it's much more manageable. Plus the drop off of the tyres when they're a little bit too hot. I mean, it used to feel like if you got them over 100 degrees, it used to feel like they just turned to mush, you know, rather than just being less efficient. It's like in ACC, if your tyres get really hot, they get a lot less efficient, but they don't just turn to mush. And it feels much more like that now. So let's stop there and go and try this 2019. And I'll have a quick look at the chat there. They updated the button box on the roof. I didn't even notice that. I was concentrating on the... They might have done that on the last... What did you see there on the button box, Darwin? And Don, exactly, it's middle engine where the driver is sitting in the back axle. Yeah, absolutely. Right, so let's try this 2019. So Don is saying that this is feeling just great. Do you think it's the best one out of the lot? You know, or I haven't driven this car in a while actually, so it's going to be interesting. Shall I? I'm going to take it to Laguna Seca just because the only reason I used Gateway there for that 23 stock car was because that was where I was testing it last time. But generally with all the cars, I'm testing at Laguna at the moment. Just because that's where I'm testing all the cars. I should really make my test track of choice Snetterton, because it's the closest one to where I actually live. So if I actually get the chance to go out on a track day in my own car, or, you know, if I've ever got enough money to buy a car that I can just for track days, that's where I'm going to go, really. So I'm silly to choose a track that's, you know, thousands of miles away in the States. Anyway, let's get this car going. Yeah, very much so. Let's see. I'm excited to see how it feels, Don. Right, so obviously we're on default setup because I deleted my setups folder. Right, let's see what this is like. Starting off with cold tyres, of course. Look, I mean, just look how far back you're sitting. One thing about the stock cars, I never see anything on the steering wheel if I move down a bit. You know, there's nothing on here that lights up to tell you when you're using or when you can use your push to pass there. There's nothing. I don't know if they have it in the real car, but I wish it because when I'm in VR, I don't like to have all this HUD information up. So I wish there was something lit up on the steering wheel to let you know when you're using it. Right, waffling on. Oh yeah. See, just coming out, immediately, you know, going from standstill and accelerating, you know, spinning up the rears with the wheel turned. And having a counter steer into it. I'm keeping my foot down there, but I'm still you know, it's controlling which way the car's going. Now I've unbalanced the tyre temperatures, so I'll just come out again. It's just the rear's following the front much more in the way you'd expect it to. Just the way tyres lose grip is they're definitely on the right direction. Right, cold brakes, warm them up. Cold tyres. This is interesting to feel how those thermodynamics are working. You know, the grip's feeling like a car should there, but obviously I'm going wider in the corners because I'm on the cold tyres, so it'll be interesting to see how it feels on the second and third lap. But they're gradually coming up to temperature quite, well, reasonably quickly there. feeling absolutely lovely through the force feedback. Yeah, the front end bite is, it's really there now. Especially on this, it's really, really there. What it's communicating to me is exactly what I need to know. Oh, coming out of that corner there, it feels lovely. I'm now reading the chat. Hang on. I'm going to try and expand this chat a bit so I can see more lines of chat. Every time I do that, because it's Alt-Tab, it stops the game. Most racing drivers always complain about they can't see anything from inside these cars. Well, I'm not surprised, because you are literally sitting almost behind the side pillars. And you did, Don, and I'll tell you what, mate, and I would tell you if I didn't feel the same, but you're right, it feels fantastic. I haven't driven this car in a while, and see a little bit of trail braking there. And just the way it's... What happens if I try and get the back end out in a silly kind of fashion? It's hard to do it because it's so well balanced and it's got so much grip. I can do it here. I'll dip the clutch and... Look at that! Yeah, if I clutch kick it, the counter steer is completely intuitive now. Much like it is in R Factor 2. Whereas before, drifting in or getting sideways in AMS2, yeah, always felt a little bit weird, because when you counter steer, when the back end went sideways, you'd counter steer, it would come back, and then the wheel would centre, but it would almost centre too far the other way. Now, spot on. Can you feel the front though? Hello, one hit wonder. I can feel the front. I was just literally saying that. It's Oh, you're on a G29. Well, I mean, this is the new beta, and I'll tell you what, I'll say now, if you've not tried the new beta, if you've got the beta, try it. And okay, you're on a G29, you're saying I'm only on a G29, but you should feel the front more than you previously did on it for sure. The front end bite, I mean, I'm using a FANATEC CSW, so it's a bit stronger, 8 Newton meter wheel, you know, more reactive, but the front end bite is definitely more than it was on my wheel. It's just, yeah, it's there. Those two little bits of tarmac, by the way, just there. Let me just point them out to you. There you see those two dark bits of tarmac there. I can feel those patches. You can see the car moving slightly as I go over them. I can feel those patches perfectly through the wheel. Absolutely perfect. Like I said, I haven't seen any patch notes yet, so we don't know if there's been force feedback updates as well as tyre updates. So I don't know if it feels better just because of the way the tyres are transmitting Isn't it awesome? Yeah. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's just the tyre changes that have made it, but the force feedback feels better. The handling, it really. This is, like I was saying earlier, they've gone a bit forwards. You know, 2 steps forwards, when 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. This is definitely. This is feeling about 3 or 4 steps forwards, maybe 5. This is. I'm really chuffed. Although, you know, don't take that as gospel from me, because as I was saying earlier, a friend of mine has been having terrible problems with the beta, and it does seem that different people are getting slightly different results. And I mean, he's on a Thrustmaster, and he's had a few problems with it, specifically with this sim, and I wonder if there is... It's one of the older Thrustmasters as well, T300. And I'm just wondering if the new updates don't have great support for that wheel. From my end, I'm going to have to get a glass of water in a minute. From my end, it's feeling great. Right, Darwin. It's going to be, from what they're saying, this is directly, because I have read, there has been a post about this. It's now looking like, because they're gonna keep updating all the way to 1.6 now, because they've found things that they are referring to as, they've found gold in the code, you know, as in just they've found some brilliant things, but it's going to require, they're making it even better than they thought it could, but it's also throwing its own share of inherent problems, because as I understand it, there are so many variables in the Madness engine that one thing knocks onto the other, so you change one thing slightly and it'll have a knock-on effect to something else. So they're working through that, but they're now saying that they're going to keep the official release till something like near the end of October. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer wait, unfortunately. But I can tell you, I don't know if you're on the beta, but if you're in the beta program, go and drive the beta at the moment. This is fantastic. Let's I just want to see what this is like. I want to see what this car is like. Little experiment here. I'm gonna I'll just do this with the preload and coast route. Let's open that right up. Really open up the diff under coast, and with no preload and hard, just the lowest amount of clutches. Just want to see what that does to the back end, if it brings it round and introduces a nice good amount of lift off oversteer and that sort of thing. Hopefully they will get it all together before Le Mans. I think that's got to be the plan, because the Group C's, I've noticed, aren't on the list of updated tyre models. And obviously the Group C's have got to be on that list before they even think about bringing out Le Mans, because they're the cars you're going to want to take there. Okay, let's see what happens now. Yeah, I'm getting a lot better turning. Back end is coming around a lot more there. I would have expected more. I've just taken the preload completely off there. Still very stable under liftoff. What about under braking? If I, hmm. Yeah, I've just lifted up off there, and it's turning in much better with that. I mean, what about under braking? Yeah. Not as much as I expected, though. What if... Because I think this car has got a very understeery setup. Look at that. Anti-roll bar 17 to the front, 4 to the rear. Let's go back to defaults. And just... What happens if we change the setup? So I'm going to put the... What are our suspension rates at? Pretty similar as well. So we're 10 and 10 at the front, so let's make them exactly the same as the rear. And then, just to make this a fair test, bring that anti-roll bar at the back up to that 13, that's as high as it'll go. So I'll bring the anti-roll bar at the front to the same amount. Tyre pressures are the same. Knock off a little bit of rear downforce. Right, so that's with the default diff. So let's see how it handles now. Getting a bit sidetracked here, but we've got cold tyres, so let's just see what happens now. Warm up the tyres a bit. It's still extreme. It's still an extremely well balanced car. I mean, I haven't made it an oversteery setup. Just match the front and the back. But it's turning in much better, but just the way the grip's translated is much better. Right. So coming around, lifting off, turning in, coming around, lifting off, turning in. Braking, turning in. That's much better. I think you could the default setup on this is you could really go a lot softer on the front and harder on the rear. Now that we've done that, let's go back and go to our diff and open that right up. In fact, we'll lock it up under power, close it up, and open it up under coast, and just give it some preload. So there we go. Right, let's see what happens. What's it going to do now? Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's turning in much tighter under lift off. Oh, much tighter indeed. Much tighter. Look at that, it's all the way to the inside. Let's try that with the brakes. Yeah. You've got a really forward brake bias in these cars. That's 60-40. One more thing, I just want to see what happens if we then... So let's take the front bump stops out. Let's really lower the front suspension, stiffen up the rear. And let's change these anti-roll bar settings. We'll go, right, that should be much more oversteery now. And just one more thing. Bring down that rear wing at the back. I want to see what the mechanical grip does here. Yeah. Oh, much more so. That was with a touch of brake, to be fair, but just a touch, just the tiniest touch. Whoa, that was just with liftoff, and we're at low speeds. That is with a touch of brake. It's really hard to lose the back end on this car without using throttle. But it's... Oh. How about rainy curve? Let's see. Oh, that is... Yeah, that's really turning in. Right, okay. Enough mucking about with that. That car is super stable. It's really, really super stable. Right, so let's go and have a look at the beta forums now. Ah, there's a new alert. So, have we got any patch notes yet? 2 new alerts. Doesn't look like there's any official posts from the posts from the devs yet. No, nothing from the devs just yet. Right, what else is on the list? Let's have a look. GT4s are on the list, and there is a problematic GT4, so let's go and find it. And what I'm talking about is the McLaren 570S GT4. This car, if the tyres at the rear get a little bit too hot, it's very easy to lose the back end with a slight touch of brakes. Me and my mate Flipflops have had this conversation. I can drive it for about 7 laps around Bathurst without too many problems, but compared to other cars, it is touchy. When he drives it, because of the way he brakes, he just says it after a certain amount of laps, it gets unhandleable. So I want to see what it's like here. So we've got, let's see, kind of a setup have we got here on default. So 4 to the rear downforce, and that's as high as it goes. Anti-roll bars are almost equal. Oh, that's interesting. Higher tyre pressures at the front, lower tyre pressures at the rear. That would suggest that the rear's going to get, they're going to get hotter quicker if they're lower. Suspension, where spring rates are the same front and rear. Bump stops at the same front and rear. Dampers aren't much lower than the rear. Than the front. On the rear, they're not much lower. It's 16 to 18. Not a big difference there, but on rebound, 21 to 28, slightly bigger difference. It's the drivetrain. 170! 170 it's got on the preload on this car. Engine braking's at 4. Right, I know it's designed to be driven with traction control and ABS, but I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it off. because that's what I've always tested it with. So let's see what happens. See how this feels. So this car also on the list of the new tyres and physics. I don't know how many cars I'm going to get through testing on this little live stream I'm doing. I didn't plan on doing a live stream today. And we've got family here. They're out at the moment, but I don't know when they'll be back. So obviously I'm going to spend some time. So I don't know how long I'll be on this for. This is feeling pretty good so far. Obviously got to let the tyres warm up. No problems yet, but like I said, with this car, it's when the tyres are just over temperature that it starts acting differently. No problems so far at all. And yes, Darwin, I am excited for Lee Mann's coming to this this sim and the rest of the Extreme Motorsports pack. Hopefully we get some drift cars. I like my drifting. So this is feeling nice and nimble at the moment. Bitey front end, I like it. Feeling good, feeling good. How's the on-off throttle sort of feeling? It's alright. So, what is our brake bias set in this car? 62 to the front. That is a lot of forward brake bias on this car. I'm just using a touch trail braking around that corner there. Tyres are getting into their window now. Just like, yeah, like the other cars I've tried so far now, it's so much more obvious, the feeling of, you know, the transition from total sticky grip to on the edge scrub grip to over the edge starting to slide. It's just much more nice, and the feeling of braking is so much easier. Find your biting point and keeping it just on the edge there of that point, so you've got maximum efficiency with your braking. A lot of turning with this car, even with that really locked up diff on the back end. A lot of turning when you come up the throttle. Right, the brakes are up to temperature now, and I'm actually, sorry, well, I'm getting readings. The fronts are nearly exactly the same temp as the rear, even with that 60-40 brake bias. Not having any problems with it yet. Because I do love this car. I like driving it a lot in ACC. No problems so far. Really let it lean on that front right, and it's really quite pointy, this car. Reminds me a bit of the Ferrari 448 in R-Factor 2. I'm not having to use any brake, just, you know, braking up to the corner, alright, then coming off and turning in. I don't need trail brake in this car. It doesn't need it, it just turns in. Look at that. Braking up to the corner, came off, turned right into the apex. Oh. Had a little bit of a squeal there as we went over the bump coming up the hill on the braking. Look at that. So keep it at constant speed in third, come off the pedal, and it turns right in. So much turning. When the tyres are up to grip, those front tyres are just biting right in. And look at that. I mean, obviously it turns in better than the 720, but obviously it's a shorter wheelbase, so you might expect that. It's less aero, but the low speed corners, the aero's not going to matter so much. It's definitely got more turning there. Look at that. I would say one hit wonder that the version in AC can feel a little bit heavier, but that's sometimes deceptional because of the way force feedback is set up. I used to feel that way until I kind of equaled out the forces between all my sims. I think in AC it feels, I'd actually say at AC it feels a little bit more understeery. Without lifting off there, it's just... Right, let's try really pushing it. Overheat those tyres maybe, see what happens. See if that old problem is still there. If it's not, my mate Flip Flops is going to be very happy. It's turning in so nicely. Right. So I came into that corner and didn't... I'm still on the brakes, so trail braking a little bit as I go around. Not having any problems so far. The back tyres aren't overheating too much. They're hotter than the fronts. This is good news so far, folks. I can trail brake nicely in this without losing the back end. Oh, there we go, there we go. Came right up the throttle there, lifted off, and the car's got on a bit of a slide there already. So, and we're up to 97 on the rear, on the right rear. But that's after nearly 5 laps. So this is going to be the 5th lap, so that's 6 laps if you include the out lap. So we are lap number 5 now, including the out lap. That is 6 laps before it started to give us any of that kind of behaviour. It's fine around there. That rear tyre's now gone out to 93. Braking, still braking, coming off, turning in. Now it was round Rainy Curve where we had that back end step out on the last lap. So let's see what happens this time. A little bit loose there, little bit of a loose feeling. Oh, don't lock. Okay, alright, so let's see what happens this time. Okay, I didn't come completely up the throttle there that time. Not just aggressively come up, and it's fine. In fact, I think with this car I could even decrease the steering lock, because I'm sure, or the steering degrees on this car, not the lock, because I think the version in ACC by default has a lot less degrees of turn on the front wheels in relation to how much you turn the actual wheel inside the car. This is feeling good. This is feeling good. It's definitely less understeery than the AC version, but that actually depends very much on what circuit you go to in AC, because the setup, even if you don't change, if you stay on the safe setup, or even if you don't change the setup at all, the cars are all set up completely differently for each track. The Porsche GT3, the early one in AC, can feel like a totally different animal. For instance, if you don't touch the setup and you take it to Silverstone in ACC, you take it to Zolder, and it's just, yeah, it came off the throttle quite a lot there. It's controlling itself. It's a very different kettle of fish. It feels like a totally different car. The way there is a way to kind of trick ACC, and so you can have the same set. If you like the way the car's set up, say Silverstone, and you want exactly the same setup when you go to somewhere like Zolder, where the game will set up completely differently, what you can do, rather than copying down all of the settings and then copying them when you go to Zolder, you can just find your setup folders, if you know how to do that, in your documents, find the setup you've saved, or what you have to do is save the default setup and name it, give it whatever name you like, in your Silverstone folder, then copy and paste that into your Zolder folder. That's in a completely different video though. So yeah, I'm having no problems here. Can I feel the weight shifting? Is what One Hit Wonder's asking. I feel like I can, especially around Rainy Curve here. So yeah, it's much better in fourth with lift off round there than it is if I change it down to third. So I think that might be to do with engine braking. So if we take the engine braking right off, and also to stop those rear tyres getting too hot, let's it's interesting that they're actually 5 bar lower than the fronts. So we'll equal those out, see if that feels even better. But yeah, conclusion so far, problem solved. Can't make it a fair comparison until I've let these tyres warm up. And I've just realised I was doing that whole test with the traction control and ABS turned on, so I'll leave them turned on for this test to make it a fair comparison. And then after we've got the tyres warmed up, done a few laps, I'll try it with it turned off. Come on, warm them up, warm them up. Right, aggressive lift off here. Yeah. Tyres aren't completely up to temp yet, but from what I'm seeing already, bit of a difference. Brilliant turning, once again, brilliant turning. Before, I was getting slightly hotter rears than the fronts. Now it's very equal, especially on the right hand side tyres. There's like a degree in it, if that. Start pushing it a bit. Aggressive lift off, no problem whatsoever. So we got over 90 degrees on that right rear quite easily last time round. Gonna happen this time. I don't know why on that default setup they've chosen to make the rear tyres that much lower in pressure than the front, but that isn't going to help for them overheating. Hello, Paulie. Very good, mate. So far, very good. I've tried 4 cars so far that are all on the green list. I don't know if you're on the beta or not, but if you are on the beta, then you have access to the Paddock Club forums, and with this new update, we're told what cars are on the green list, and I'm only trying cars out on the green list. So far, very, very good. Very, very good. Right, so finally, there we go. that's with a bit of brake and not looking at the screen because I was looking at tyre temperatures, but I finally got that rear up to over 90 again. Oh, I wouldn't say the Accuso that the default setups have been that bad all the time, but at the moment they kind of have left default set. They're not working on default setups. They're leaving them as they are, and because of that, they're not perfect for the new tyres because they're just changing all the time. So it is worth mucking about. You know, agreed. It's worth mucking about with the setups and not just staying on the defaults. How do they feel compared to the initial update? Really good. Really good. This last beta, the back is really following the front again, if that's the simplest way I could put it. Tyre physics feel fantastic, they really do. We're staying at 90 on that rear, so bringing those or upping those pressures a bit has really helped out. Right, let's see if we can aggressive lift off around here. Will we lose the back? That's aggressive. No. Yeah, obviously that tyre changes help. Let's see what happens if we take off all of the traction control and anti-lock brakes. Will I have problems now? Oh no! No, but they're now doing constant tyre physics updates until version 1.6. They've decided to go all the way to version 1.6 before they're going to call a halt to proceedings on the tyre physics front and start concentrating on other things. So we're now looking at, you know, not having these new updates in the full version until mid to late October. I'm trying to drive and read here at the same time. Of course, does not apply to all cars and not all the time. Fair, so they have struggled to put out the best of default setups. Well, yeah, I'd say that about a lot of sims. R Factor 2, for instance. R Factor 2 has some really bad default setups. I love R Factor 2, especially what they've done with the new BMW, or rather the updated BMW M2. It's just fantastic. But default setups, you know, I think their view is you set the car up yourself. So they do not have the most optimal default setups. The Radical GT3 is the worst example. The damper setups are all over the place. But then again, both R Factor 2 and AMS2, you have to forgive them for that, because they don't have setups for each track. Whereas ACC, even if you don't select the setup, even if you go straight out, the car, whichever car you choose, is on a different setup by default for each track you go to. Cars can feel so different. So it's, you know, I think I wouldn't put it past Reza later on in terms of refinement when they get round to, you know, after they're finished with the main core physics updates, much later on to start doing things like we'll add specific setups for tracks to the sim. But then again, that's going to be a tough job because they've got more tracks, even in the base game in this sim, than than both of the two examples that I just stated. Yeah, this is feeling fine. That's feeling, yeah, it's just feeling great. That's great. I'm not having any problems with that car now. Let's see what happens if we go ridiculous with the diff. Right, preload down to 0. Let's see if the back end steps out now when we lift off. It does. It's, you know, it's got loads, but then again, they are specifically calibrating that they're gradually going through every car and track combination to get perfect, or you know, as close to perfect as they can calibration between the AI and the tracks for each track and car combination. That alone, just, I mean, the workload of that, absolutely, just the combinations. I hate to think what they run into. So I've gone from 170 preload to 0. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The AI does use its own setups, doesn't it? Look at that now turning in. Now I've lowered the preload. Are we going to lose the back end though? Dominic Toretto time. I'm not familiar with Dominic Toretto. Who is that? Oh, that's easily coming around now. Thing with this car is it's hard to figure out what's supposed to be going on with it, because you've got an adjustable preload in this car and an adjustable brake bias. But this car, the road going version, has an electronically controlled diff, so you usually can't adjust it, and it's electronically controlled by the brakes, so you can't adjust the brake bias either. And then obviously in some racing series, the racing version will have a mechanical diff, so you can, or adjustable diff and normal brakes. And then I believe in other racing series they actually use the electronic system. So it's quite hard to figure out what this car should be doing in, you know, in terms of how it should act from real life. Right. I'm really trying to lose that back end. Yeah, there we go. That was whilst trail braking slightly. Okay, let's go try another car. Oh, Fast and Furious. Right. Sliding all over the place. There are... Mr. Accuso, thank you for what you've just said. Because in terms of sliding all over the place, I did notice on the green list of cars, and whilst I'm not actually in the game, so to speak, let's just go and see if there's been any updates on the forums yet. Have we got any patch notes? Oh, okay, folks. As well as our updated tyre list, we now have... Oh, Don's actually... Don, you've just seen it at the same time as I have. It's actually on page 54. I've found it. So they've added it to 52 now as well, have they? Let's have a look. No, they've not. It's on 54. Don, it's page 54. Literally, Renata has just posted the patch updates. So we've got the tyre list already. 1 second, I'll read it out in a minute, but I need to get a glass of water. 1 second. Sorry about that. I tend to get... if I'm not lubricated and I'm excited and shouting a bit, I do get a dry throat. Right, so... our patch notes. Our patch notes changelog is... we already know that we've had the national layout of Barcelona added. So we knew that already. UI and HUD added scheduled full course yellows. Well, I thought that... no, they'd already done that. Added... hang on a minute. Added scheduled full course yellows / private qualifying to in-game session settings tab. And full course yellow info to lobby detail page. In-game. That suggests that you can add full course yellows whilst you're in the game before you load a track, maybe? I'm not sure I quite understand that, because full course yellows, scheduled full course yellows / private qualifying had already been added. That's already in... right, so... I don't know. Physics for the tyre tread revisions. Well, we know that. Minor aero adjustments for Formula Classic G4M1. Formula Retro Gen 1. Fixing nose diving over crests. Formula Retro Gen 2. Formula V12, V10 and Formula Ultimate Gen 1 and 2. So they've had aero adjustments, okay. We don't know what those are yet. Audio adjusted tyres, scrub and skid sound volume for the Formula USA Gen 1 and Gen 2. I wonder if they've lowered that because that was quite loud. Tracks. Tiki RX corrected max AI participants from 5 to 7. Good. Good. So we haven't got limited AI for the RX version of that track. Montreal Historic adjusted road noise to reduce excessive bumps. Vehicles, stock car 20 and 23, adjusted cockpit materials. So I believe we can say to Mr. Who was it who noticed that earlier? Someone noticed it earlier. Was it B Stew? I can't remember who noticed it, but someone in the stream noticed that the cockpit graphics had been updated to the button box in the 2023 stock car that I was driving. Scheduled for Don saying this is new. No, scheduled full course yellow was in this last beta up the one just before this one. It was already there. But yeah, kind of as far as I understand it, yeah, bunch up the cars, you know, make it more interesting with the full course scheduled full course yellow. Ah, Darwin Lee, it was you who mentioned the button box, yes. Yeah, because I'd already seen the scheduled full course yellow in the last build. So there's not much to go on there apart from the... I could be wrong, but then there's not much to go on there. I'm going to carry on with the tyre revisions because that's the most interesting thing really going on. Oh, comparing with... Yeah, scheduled full course yellow is not in the public release, for sure. What did I see someone mention on the forums earlier? Actually, no. What I want to do, because this is good news. If we go to... Stay on GT and touring cars for the moment. Hang on. Oh, no. As I said already, someone mentioned about going sideways. Yes. I have noticed that... On the list of updated cars, the Street Camaro SS has got not fully updated with the AI, but updated with tyres. So, what I always do with this car, because this is my favourite car for going sideways in Automobilista 2, and my favourite track to do that at, which I always test it at, is Hockenheim Short. So let's I'll swap my gear stick from sequential into H pattern for this car, as you should, and let's see what this is like now. So I usually give it a proper drift setup as well, but I'll leave it on defaults apart from taking off traction control and ABS. I'll take those off, see what it's like on the default setup, and then we'll give it... I will just... Where are we? Increase the steering angle, because we are drifting. I'll try it on default and then try it on normal. Right, so... Oh, I'm excited about this. What's it going to be like? Oh. Oh, there's a different feeling already. Oh, yeah. Oh, folks, she feels good. She feels good. Oh, yeah. Oh, this feels great. Oh, oh, I love it. Oh, should have stayed in third there, rather. Oh, oh, brilliant! It's so much easier to do controlled drifting on these tyres. Or sustained drifting, sustained sliding, rather. Oh, I'm very pleased about this. I do like having fun with this car. And I found it's like the difference. What for those of you who were in the stream earlier, what I was saying about the 2023 stock car. You know, just seemed to have a problem with low speed. When it came to sliding, with low speed tyre physics. And I've always been able to drift this car, but especially around this corner here, which is much lower speed, you know, than that corner I could never get really great sustained drifts around. And of course in real life, you watch track days at this track, people going around there with BMW M3s and, you know, rear wheel drive street cars, and they have so much fun with that corner. And for me, it's always been the hardest corner, whereas a fast corner like this, you know, it was reasonably easy to get a massive drift on. But then, strangely, it was the low-speed corners. This one's another one like that. It should be easier to drift around those, and it was harder. Now, oh guys, this is fantastic. Look at my inside. Look at my rear left. And again, even though I'm a stupid... Hang on, I've got to concentrate. Oh, overcooked it a little bit. Let it get on the less grippy stuff on the outside. Even though my tyres are really... The other thing, especially in the last couple of updates, you know, the grip drop off when your tyres got to a stupid level like that, or even just above 100, was... Yes, they're overheated, so they should be less efficient. But the drop off was like you were just driving on mud. Now, you know, I'm up at a... That tyre's at 107 on the back outside now, and I can still get the back end out without it completely, you know, shooting off out from under me like it's suddenly turned to mush. Which is kind of how it should be. This is brilliant. This is absolutely fantastic. Sorry if anyone's... I'll come and look at you guys in the chat in a minute, but... just one more lap on this setup. Look at that. Absolutely. Fantastic. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I just got to see what are those last few laps there just look like. apart from that one spin. Let's look at that last lap. No, just before I'll just check the chat. Done. It is now. Only the car's not orange, and it's not a Charger. Oh, I wish we had a Dodge Charger. Right, let's look at this lap. This is on the default setup. This is not me putting on a, you know, locking up the diff and doing a proper drift setup. This is on the default. Another thing, and this isn't just down to this update, this has already been in this update. The tyres used to look terrible visually because, oh, just look at that. Look at that. The tyres used to squish down on this car to the point where it looked like there was nothing there. Also, similarly on this corner. Oh, loving it. Proper angle. Lovely. Yeah, the tyres, when it was cornering this car, and because of, you know, obviously in Ballista 2, you've got the whole, you can see your tyre deformation like you can in R-Factor 2 as well, and ACC now. But it used to be so exaggerated in this visually that when a car was going around a corner, especially if it was drifting, it looked like the tyres suddenly went down on this car because it's really low profile, like there was nothing there, low profile tyres. On the F1 cars, they used to squish up and bulge like they were flat. That doesn't happen anymore, but that's not just down to this update. That's down to, you know, just the recent load of updates in general. I have to now see what happens if I do what I usually do with this car. And you can't adjust it too much in terms of suspension. Give it a little bit. No, I'll leave that at 1 actually. Yeah, you can only adjust it a couple of clicks, suspension wise and dampers wise. You can't do anything with the bump stops. You can just change that by a little bit. But you can, on this car, lock up the diff. Look at this. This is what I usually do to make a drift setup. That's practically a welded diff there. Clutch is on 10, preload on 500 Newton meters. Can't do that in any other sim. You know, well, I can't think of another sim where it will go up to 500 Newton meters. Right. Now let's see if I can even control the damn thing. Right. Drift setup. Right, here we go. Oh, that was oh, I'm sorry, I failed to initiate a decent drift there. Right, come on, Paul. Oh, that back end comes around a lot easier under power now. I may have gone too far. Oh, oh, it's super easy to get that back end out now. Okay, most difficult one. Lovely. Lovely. Oh, the Camaro feels fantastic now. If anyone's thinking at the moment watching, oh dear, Tarmac Terrace has got a little bit overindulgent or self-indulgent here. Yes, I have! Yes, I have, you are very right. You are so right. I love these new tyres. I love them. 119 on the back. Right there. Oh, that back right. It's getting slippery. Oh, brilliant. Love it. Love it. Just too much fun. Yo, Dylan Hale, how you doing, man? Have you been trying out these wonderful new tyres on the on this new beta? Look at that. Look at the fun I've just been having. It's ridiculous. It really is. This is the best the tyres on this car have ever felt. Excuse my messy drift there. It's just a couple of corners I want to see. Look at that. All the way around, all the way around. This low speed grip improvement. I think that's probably my. What's it like? Just under straight acceleration. Yeah. So much better. Oh, you still do have to up the brake pressures on this car, though, by the seams of it. Let's go back to default setup. And up that brake pressure to 100. Yeah, Dylan, I was out last night watching my brother play jazz. And whilst I was sitting there, I was keeping an eye on my phone because I knew it was coming out. And I kept an eye on the forums and I was loving him play jazz, but then halfway through his performance, like, the new beat is out. I'm so excited. And then calmed down and got more into the jazz again. And then the drummer did a brilliant solo and I totally forgot about all but listened to. But I got home and I was like, I've got to try this out. I didn't get much chance to try it out last night, but today, it's just great. Group C cars they're not on the green list. They're still not on the green list. But I heard someone today say that they feel a hell of a lot better. So obviously if this person's right, then there must be some sort of improvement. Right, let's see what happens with this. Turn off the traction control and the ABS. Can we get these brakes working yet? Jazz hands! Oh, come and warm them up. Yeah, the brakes on this car are still pretty terrible. I must say that's one thing that's not changed yet. Right, I'm doing 80 miles an hour there. Oh, okay, they've warmed up enough. Okay, that's good. So 30, 40 miles an hour. I should be able to lock up. It's a road car. I should be able to lock up. ABS is turned off. There you go, that's a lock up from 60, 70. So that's... Maybe, I don't know if the Camaro, this could be something I'm missing on my part here. I'm a bit too high on the seat there, aren't I? It could be that, a bit like my own road car, this car has built-in ABS that you can't turn off. I really hate that. They're warmed up enough now. It is locking up. 50, 60. Yeah. Okay, they're fine now. They were just really, really cold. Yeah, they were just really, really cold. It's working. It's good. As long as you've got the brake pressure on 100, it works with this car. I'm so pleased with what I've done with it. It's brilliant. Let's get out of here. Yeah, it doesn't... It can't have built-in ABS because I'm not feeling any ABS kicking in. Let's see what's being said. Well, I'll tell you what, Dylan. Let's give them a try anyway. Even though they're not on the green list. I wasn't going to do this, but I always go for the Porsche. And I always test these ones, or I've gotten used to, rather. Testing at Buenos Aires number 12. Let's see if anything's changed. You know, we've just had this conversation as well. I just had the conversation with someone else. They were saying, you know, they hope they get everything sorted physics-wise before they bring out, you know, start bringing out the new packs. Like the next thing to come is Le Mans. And I absolutely agree because, of course, the Group Cs have to be sorted before they bring out Le Mans. That's the track that everyone's, you know... Everyone's going to be racing the Group Cs, especially the historic version of Le Mans. Oh, can't wait. So when it comes out, they're going to have all the different versions. Right. So, let's see if I can feel any difference with these. Okay. I'm going to hammer it and see if I can get away whilst hammering it and first, second and third. Super Stadium trucks will be good. Yeah, you've seen them in the files, have you? Brilliant. Look forward to those. Right. Oh. Yeah, got away okay. So let's see how this feels. Oh, these are fast. Hands off the wheel at 292 kilometers per hour. I haven't even got my tyres warmed up yet, and these are not on the green list. But this doesn't feel bad at all. Could have left my braking a little bit later there. Hunkered down at the back there. The tyres aren't even up to temperature yet. They're really hunkered down at the back there. More so than I remember it doing previously. Whoa. Whoa, I really just was a bit of untidy there and chucked it about, but the aero's definitely working. The big question is, can I get it around that corner without any lift? And that was flat. Yes, I can. Whoa, whoa. This is... Once again, I could have braked later. Well, this isn't on the green list of tyres, but Dylan, in answer to your question, they're not on the green list, but... Oh, there we go. Went a little bit too fast that time. Dabbed the brakes a bit too hard. Unsettled it. I do like the way it just broke traction there. It was quite sudden. You know, considering it's a high downforce car, it's kind of what you'd expect, especially at that speed. I'm going to have to lift. Oh, I've gone in too far to the outside. Next lap, that was my fault. Yeah, I know what you mean, Dylan. I just want to see if I can get that last corner, or that big corner, totally flat out this time around. I've done it once, I just want to see if I can do it again. One thing, these cars are out of that corner there many builds ago. You could not get them out of that corner flat, with your foot flat down in second gear. Back end would be squabbling with you. Turns out you can now, that's just... hell of a lot of fun, that's for sure. Alright, get it right this time, Paul, come on. Okay, the outside. Look for that cone. Look for the cone. Oh, going too far on the inside. That's flat. But I had a little bit of a lift just before. So let's try again. Sorry about this, folks. I really can rely on the aero there, that's for sure. Lots of high speed grip, lots of it. 100 board. There we go. Get it right this time, boy. Oh, using all the track there. Right, come on, this is the one. Right. And that's it, flat all the way round. All the way round, totally flat. Let's see that on the replay, see what they're looking like. That was the last lap. So let's fast forward. Right, so we just watched this lap. Down to the corner. There we go. This is flat all the way round. Yeah, I wouldn't say completely done by the movement there. There's a bit too much movement going on the back. Feels good, but I would agree with you, Dan. It doesn't feel completely finished, but it feels damn good. Right, so let's go back to cars on the green list. Oh. Let's see what's going on the forums. Right, let's completely change tact. And oh no, I did just want to. Yeah, did just want to try it. There was one car I wanted to try it because this wasn't on the green list before. It now totally is, and that was the Porsche Cup. So. Where is it now? Where are we? Porsche Cup, there we go. And we shall take this one. I like testing this one mainly at current day Silverstone. Do you mean with the bumps, Dylan Howell? When you mean brutal for the drivers with these cars? Oh, following my lead on your piece. I'm glad I've inspired you, mate. Right, here we are. I always go out with this car just to I don't always race with anti-lock brakes and traction control completely turned off, but I do a lot. So I'm just taking ABS off, but I'm not changing anything apart from that on the setup. So let's start the thing. Right, see what this feels like. Oh, just have a look. That's what interesting to see what the default setup is on this. Okay, yeah, alright. Yeah, bumps and downforce. That can. I can think of one driver in a very high downforce car on a track which was, you know, it's a racetrack, smooth enough, but even small bumps, it went so fast with such high downforce, it knackered one of the vertebrae in his back. Can't think of who it was. And it was a kind of it was like a modern prototype type car. Just can't remember what it was. Oh, that sounds horrendous. That sounds horrendous. Although now I want to go and look for that video just to see how bad you're talking about. You can't. It's one of those terrible. You just have to know how bad can it be. Right. See what this feels. Oh, force feedback feels very nice. Like literally immediately. Cold tires. They have said, you know, the devs did say in when they said the beta was out, they said some cars might feel better or worse than others because they're all WIP, but so far literally every car I've tried on the green list feels better. And I'm only on my outlap here, but and overdoing it as well around Cop's Corner there on cold tyres. This is not feeling like any exception to that. It's feeling good. Right, concentrate on your driving. Do try and remember I'm on cold tyres and I've just got out of a Group C car. So I'm already... I'm going too fast for the car because I've just got out of a Group C car. Need to acclimatise. Much slower, much less grip, much less aero. I'm just loving the way these new tyres, when they lose traction, the way the gradient of it all. They've certainly got the tyres warmed up. Yeah, that feeling of connection, especially from the front end, that was present in the McLaren tyres, definitely. I mean, it's a totally different car, but the tyre feeling is definitely different to the Group C's. Stop going too fast. Should have gotten that Group C. The grip. Group C gets the new tyres, it's not just gonna, that grip level's not gonna be the same. I just getting the braking for that chicane there, because it's so tight, you're really heavy on the brakes for it. And it's the same story with the other cars on these tyres. There's been no updates to how the brakes work, not as far as I know. But the tyre physics, once the tyre physics are better, the braking feel is just better. I've noticed this before, because it's like when ACC updated to 1.9, you know, and the tyres got that 5-point model and just came on, so, you know, you could finally use curbs a bit more, or bit, you know, the tyres got so much better. The thing that I really liked, my favourite thing about it, was how much better the brakes felt. And even with the ABS turned off, it used to be quite hard not to flat spot your tyres with the ABS turned off in ACC, because it was just brake, 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 slide. When they updated the tyres, you know, you can now brake with your ABS turned off with confidence and not flat spot the tyres, because of the feeling of the grip getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, and then a little bit too much, starting to go and then gone. That's how this is now feeling as well. The brake feeling is great. One second, I've got to take a break. Got people knocking on my door. Hello? Oh, thank you very much. Well, we've got the fam round, and we've got dinner on the table apparently, so this is going to have to be... This is going to have to be my... possibly my last little test, because I'd like to carry on. But we have got the family round this weekend, and they had gone out, but it turns out they're back, and now we're having dinner. So I'm going to have to make this the last test. But yeah, just to finish off, there's two things I want to do. Just the brakes, okay? I'm just able to get it right on the edge of brake efficiency so easily, and something much more intuitively. So if I want to brake not on the edge, you know, but find a good maximum braking amount, fourth gear, 190 kilometers per hour, and we brought it to a nice steady halt. Now if I want to get it, so we go for fourth gear up to the same speed, and I'm going to try and get it right to the maximum braking point, you know, just until the tyres start to tug and scrub a little bit, and you'll hear it as well. I'm pretty certain I can get it spot on. So here we go. So yeah, get 193. You can hit just slightly tugging. It's No lockups, you know. If I wanted to lock up, I could, but that was right on the edge. And I'm easy to find that, managing to find that brake point so much easier on these new tyres. So if I wanted to lock up without any ABS, look, I'll stab it. Oh, no. No, I can't. Hang on. I've got no ABS on, so why can't... I was actually trying to lock it there. Should be able to lock it. That's interesting, hang on. Right, down to 193 where I was last time. 191, 92, 93. No. Okay, can't lock the brakes on the car. Right, let's right, they're at 90%. I'll bring it up to 100. I literally stood on the brakes just there. I've got to be fair and warm the tyres up. Because it wouldn't be fair to, and I've got to warm the brakes up to a similar temperature to what they were at, because it wouldn't be fair to go out and try slamming the brakes on with then cold brakes and cold tyres. It wouldn't be a fair test, so let's warm them up. Oh, that is the ABS light coming on now. Oh, that's definitely a lock-up. Maybe I might have just had my ABS on. Come on, tyres, warm up. I need to go and have my dinner. I had my ABS on, didn't I? I had my blooming ABS on. Silly prat. Yeah, because they're definitely locking up. I know the tyres aren't completely warmed up, but the brakes are. And yeah. So fourth gear. Come on, tyres. Let's deliberately overheat them. Yeah. I had my ABS on. Right, so the question is, can I still find that braking point so easily? So with the ABS off. Yes, I can. Try it again. Make sure I'm not just fluking it. Sure, I didn't have my ABS on. The tyres are nearly up to what they were last time now, and the brakes are warmed up. Right, fourth gear, 193 miles per hour. Yeah. Alright, I can still find it I can still find that braking point without the ABS on. Let's do the same speed and try and lock it up deliberately. Now that we're 100% brake pressure. Fourth gear. Right, deliberate lock-up attempt. Yeah, I certainly can lock it up. I didn't have my ABS on. It was just that the brake pressure, I've at 100 you can lock them up. But even with the ABS off, I can find that braking point more easily. Sorry, I'm rushing this a bit now because I'm in a hurry. What have we got going on here now? Dan says he drove the 3.8 version. A little bit more understeer on cold tyres. It's got more rotation on throttle. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You've got it spot on there. You can feel the tyre compressing under braking. Right, there's one more thing I want to try before I have to finish this stream. Because a lot of these setups are so understeery. By default. And I know why they've done that. They've done that to make things safe. For newer drivers. But I don't want to do that. I want to make it as oversteery as possible, especially on and off the power. Oh, there we go. That's certainly changed it a bit. Oh, it's changed it a lot. Oh, very much so. Yeah, okay. I've got to come back to mucking about with that. Right. Anyway, I'm starting to not doing things properly now because I've got other things on my mind. Time to go and have dinner with the fam, and well. That's 2.5 hours worth of testing. I would have liked to have done more. Thank you to everyone who's come in and watched, and I hope you enjoy this new beta. I just, you know, when they've got it all sorted out, what is 1.6 going to be like, you know, when it finally does get there? But this, the tyre physics, just the tyre physics on their own feels so much better. So much better. Anyway, there's about 20 of you watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And, oh, by the way, if any of you are R-Factor 2 users, and you own already that, let's see if there's been an update on that yet. If you own the BMW M2 CS, check it out now, because it's been updated. I've already done a video on this. It's fantastic. Literally one of the best cars in sim racing for me. I absolutely love it. There's nothing new, but I just wanted to check to see if there was any news on that, because they are going to be giving that away for free. There's going to be a way to win it. Anyway, bravo, Reza. Well done with the tyre physics on this update. And see you out on track soon sometime. All of you guys watching. And cheers. Happy sim racing. Catch you later.